there are just a lot of different things that, we can talk about in regards to the offseason. And I think it's going to be an exciting offseason. But one of the things that I took away, I'm there at the presser, the exit interview. Pelinka's there with JJ Redick. And Pelinka said something that stood out to me. And I mentioned it right after the presser. I came back and I did a show. Pelinka said something to the effect of that he expects that it's going to be a very, very active summer in the NBA. Everybody knows what the Lakers need. They need a big. What are they going to do with Austin Reeves? You bring back Dorian Finney-Smith. Do you keep Rui and Gabe Vincent, some of these other guys? You use them as trade bait. We know all the questions the Lakers have. But I thought it was really interesting that Rob Pelinka said that he is expecting that this summer is going to be very active in the NBA. That stuck out to me. It's like, all right, well, Pelinka obviously knows something. The last thing you want Pelinka to do, I think, is overpromise and underdeliver. I worry about that a little bit because I think he has done that before. And then, obviously this past trade deadline, we didn't know what the hell was going to happen, and he got Luka Doncic. So that stood out to me. Yesterday, I'm listening to this Pat McAfee, Shams Charania conversation. And I want you guys to take a listen here because instantly when I heard this, the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that, like I mentioned, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard Shams say what he said was, man, you know what? Rob Pelinka said something similar in regards to how active and busy this summer is going to be. Take a listen to what Shams said on Pat McAfee show yesterday.
This is going to be an active summer for the NBA.
Pat, this is the most, I think, anticipation team executives have had over an offseason. I think this is going to be the craziest offseason of I don't want to say all time. We just came off a trade deadline. I think it was the craziest of all time. I think this offseason might be the most craziest ever because I think there's so many.
Most craziest ever.
That's crazy.
MCE. Most craziest ever, dude.
Most craziest ever. Probably grammar police is like it's craziest ever.
No, you got your point across. It's the most craziest ever.
Because I think what you have right now is you have the parity in the league.
Sucks.
It's so thin right now. Like as far as the thin line of what you can win a championship or you might be falling into the lottery. And I think the ability to go out there and improve your team and get there to championship level, I think that's on the minds of everyone around the league. So how can you elevate your team?
Phenomenal stuff right there. And, a few things stick out to me. And this really has a lot to do with, by the way, McAfee just demolishing it. That dude is just killing it. Couple things stick out to me. I think what Shams said there, you guys have heard me say this before. When the Denver Nuggets lost in 7 games, I'm like, all right, well, add another team that's going to be super, super active come offseason because they want to make sure Jokic is happy. The Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry gets injured. You don't think they understand how small their window is right now to try to compete? Let's keep, adding teams. If Minnesota gets eliminated tonight or whenever, you don't think they're going to try to make sure that their window, they got to 2 Western Conference Finals championships in a row. Houston was out in the first round. It took them 7 games to go. You don't think they're going to be active this summer? The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic because they wanted a window right now. They wanted to go all in. The San Antonio Spurs are another team that's out there that's saying to themselves, how do we start building a championship contender? The Oklahoma City Thunder are phenomenal. The Clippers, what are they going to do? I love what Shams said right there because it makes a lot of sense. You got a lot of teams right now that are watching the playoffs and saying, wait a minute, we could beat the Pacers. Wait a minute, we could beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wait a minute, we could beat the Knicks. You got a lot of teams, and maybe they're not saying that about the Oklahoma City Thunder, even though, maybe some teams are saying, hey, we're not that far from the Thunder. Hell, look at the Lakers as an example. Lakers were walking into the playoffs saying to themselves, hey, if we got the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, well, look what we did against them in the regular season. We can go toe-to-toe against them. Obviously, Lakers never had that chance. They got their asses kicked against Minnesota, and that was a wrap. So I'm not trying to make a case that the Lakers would beat Oklahoma City. I'm just saying that they played them in 2 regular season games where they played them very competitively late in the season. And you thought like, hey, maybe they can make a series out of this. The point that I'm trying to make, more than anything else, is that what Shams said about you have all this parity in the league and you got all these teams that feel like they're not that far away, which means you're going to have a lot of teams that are very aggressive this offseason. So if you like NBA free agency and you like the way, and I'm not even talking about guys getting signed, I'm talking about movement. I'm talking about trades. Lakers can't go out there this summer and go make 3 or 4 trades. No, or I'm sorry, they can't go sign 3 or 4 players in free agency. They don't have all this cap space, nor do many other teams. So I think what Shams is talking about, what Pelinka was talking about, was expect a lot of action this summer because that's the only way teams are going to be able to maneuver. And you also got a lot of front office saying to themselves, we're not that far away. We got a shot to be a top 2, top 3 team in the West. We got a shot to be a top 2, top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. Who knows when Tatum's going to come back? Can you have faith in Cleveland in the Eastern Conference? There's going to be teams out there that think that they got a real opportunity. So I thought that was kind of a real kind of fascinating quote from Shams. And I think this summer is going to be, I think it's going to match that. And I think it's going to be a very interesting summer. All right, let me look at some of the comments here and we could go from there. Let's see what we got here. KD to LA or the Spurs. I don't think the Lakers, I'll tell you that. So maybe you're talking about the Clippers. Pelinka is all talk. Get Sam Presti. I was trying to get somebody on from the Thunder. I'm having a little bit of trouble doing that. We thought we had a time for today, but it didn't happen. Yeah, I'd love to hear the Sam Presti angle and why Sam Presti has just absolutely loved staying in OKC and building his own thing. But isn't that a little surprising that arguably the best player or the best front office person, the best front office executive has decided to stay in Oklahoma City and is really kind of never even up for debate to go anywhere else? Pacers traded for Tyrese because of the system that Rick was planning to install on the new team. Tyrese shined with a specific type of team. Luka can make any team shine. Shea is the Tim Duncan of the guards, and that's okay. I like that. That's a good quote. By the way, he said something. Shea was asked, I think it was yesterday. What's today? Today is Wednesday. So it was Monday night. I think it was after they won game 4. They're up 3-1. Shea was asked something about his, the free throws and he says, I don't care. I never cared. I kind of see it as a compliment. That's my only beef with Shea. I wish this man, he's such a good player and he's so damn talented. I wish of all the different great things that comes from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I wish this man stayed away from, baiting some of these fouls because I think it takes away from some of his greatness. I think it adds a little bit of a negative conversation around Shai, and I don't think there should be many negative conversations around Shai. I don't. But, we'll see what eventually happens. How is the best front office person has no championship? And we're talking about Sam Presti. Jason, you're not wrong, but tell me, by the way, we could be sitting here in two weeks and he has a championship, or in 3 weeks and he has a championship. I don't think you can just gauge somebody by just winning a championship or not. But I get your point. And frankly, you're probably right. I shouldn't say he's the best front office person until they win an NBA championship. But tell me how many front offices can go to the Oklahoma City Thunder, draft guys like Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams. Kevin Durant leaves overnight, have to start completely all over again, then trades for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, understands the rebuilding process. Go look at how many players. I mean, Jalen Williams is a freaking stud. He's only 23 or 24 years old. They drafted Chet as well. Obviously, we know what happened there. They got all these other guys that, we're not talking about that are also really nice role players. And here they are in a position to go potentially win an NBA championship. That's pretty damn impressive that he's doing that with the Thunder. I think with franchises like the Lakers, you could skip steps. You can't skip steps with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You better be right with everything that you do. That's what I mean by him having this. Sam Presti is one of the best in the league, period. There's not really much that you can say there. I know you can make the case and say, okay, I don't disagree with you. Don't say best front office person until he wins an NBA championship. You're not wrong there. But look what he's built in Oklahoma. Guys, this is in Oklahoma City. That's I think that's what makes it special. If there's certain front office executives in certain sports that you can say are elite and they haven't won a championship yet. He's elite. Maybe can't say the best yet until he wins an NBA championship, but we're literally a couple weeks away from here, and he may very well win an NBA championship. All right, let me see what we got here. Let me see what else we got here. Let me read a couple more of these here. But I'm going to go back to what I was saying about the I'm going to go back to what I was saying about how interesting of an offseason it could potentially be. I'm looking forward to it. So I think if you're a fan out there of the NBA, even a Laker fan, expect a lot of action. So that's all that I could really tell you. Lakers are done. They have no chance of winning another title in the near future. It's going to be tough. I'll tell you that. I mean, the trajectory that they're on right now, they're going to definitely have to build around Luka, and that's going to take a second to do. Okay, that's actually going to take me to my next topic here. There's two articles here that I want to get into. There was a story that came out yesterday. My apologies. I put this on. I don't know, read it wrong. However you want to put it. There was Shams yesterday said that LeBron James is likely to opt in to his $52.6 million player option per Shams. Obviously one of the most important things that happens this offseason for the Lakers is, well, what is LeBron going to do? I got to be honest with you. I think the best case scenario for the Lakers is LeBron opting in. Because I think what that tells you is probably means this could be his final year with the Lakers. And it also means that, by opting in, it gives the Lakers in 2026 real opportunities to kind of figure out what they're going to do. Will they have a shot at going out and getting some of these big-time players? Do they have an opportunity to really start the rebuilding process with Luka and building around Luka? Not rebuilding, but building around Luka. I think there's a lot that will come into play. But according to Shams, LeBron is likely to opt in to his $52.6 million player option. If that's the case, I think that's probably the best thing that can happen. You might love Bron. You might hate Bron. Bron is still balling out, period. And it really doesn't benefit you this upcoming season if LeBron decides to leave and go somewhere else or retire. You still want LeBron James. It's not like you could take the $52.6 million and say, okay, hey, Bron's gone. Let me go put in $52.6 million from another player. If that was the case, then I would say, okay, that makes sense. But that's not the case. The Lakers' best chance next year is to try to find a big man, is to try to build, and then also to kind of know that LeBron is only there potentially for another year, and then they could figure it out after that. But I thought that was interesting news because for me, I just assumed I was having a conversation with Eric Pincus. Eric Pincus was on here, Bleacher Report. He does a phenomenal job. By the way, don't pay attention to my notes right here because I put LeBron expected to opt out. I meant to say LeBron expected to opt in. So I changed it on the title and everything else. But expected to opt in, that's kind of, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting that. I thought LeBron was just going to do a 1+1 deal, hold the franchise hostage like he always does. Not hostage, but you guys know what I mean. kind of it's tough to kind of plan around LeBron until you know exactly what he's going to do. But I think this will actually give the Lakers a little bit of clarity. So that's going to be a little bit of the hope there, is that there is a little bit of clarity from that perspective. And then they can move on from there. ESPN also they have their free agent rankings. And I don't think the Lakers are really going to be able to make a ton of noise in free agency. I think it's most likely going to come probably through trades. Now, they can do sign-in trades and things along those lines, but that gets a little bit more complicated. The Tier 1 All-Stars with options unlikely to move, LeBron's number one on that list. So something to keep in mind. They have a Tier 2, proven starters in their prime. Miles Turner is there. I think, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. I just don't see him going anywhere. I think the further that the Indiana Pacers have gone, the fact that they're about to get to the NBA Finals keeps it more and more likely that he's going to stay with this current team. Some other players that I think, are interesting. Jonathan Kuminga is going to be out there. Dorian Finney-Smith, Brooke Lopez. Those are players that are obviously associated with the Lakers, or in Dorian Finney-Smith's case, a Los Angeles Laker. So something to keep in mind there. And then, some of the other players that we talked about, Naz Reid, Gary Trent Jr., I think, is an interesting player. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had a phenomenal Game 4 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's another player that's going to be available. Guys will be available, but I don't know how many options Lakers are going to have in free agency. I think most of the stuff is going to have to come in trade. So expect a very busy offseason. How the Lakers, they're going to have to be very, very creative. So that's probably the easiest way to put it. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.